Alrighty, guys. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this. Welcome back to another episode of BARB 2024 GM interviews. Tonight we got Mr. Where's he go? Where'd he go? James. Where are you?
I'm
I
still
can't
here.
see you.
He's right there. Yeah.
The screen
He's
just
right
like
there.
went away from me here.
Oh, weird.
Mr. Pawtucket Pepes is
That's
joining
me.
us tonight for his 24 interview. Welcome, James. And of
Good to
course,
be
we
here.
got Mr. Anthony King from the Commissioner's Corner. Look at that background. Never fails, right?
Yeah. Woo.
There we go.
Oh, look at that. So as you guys know, we're going to kick this off with a couple questions coming our way to James. Then we're going to pass it on to Anthony for the Commissioner's Corner. And we'll wrap it up with two sections for additional questions for James to kind of wrap up a little bit of the fun. Anything before we kick it off, James?
No, just looking forward to this season. I can't believe that I'm like a month away from the draft. I'm super excited. I've spent way too much time researching. So all of you people who are asking me for draft picks, he ain't getting them. Let me just throw that out there. Invested too much time into research. Anyway, looking forward to the season and playing with all you bozos.
Well, actually, that sets up the question of, how do you feel about your chances of making this year's playoffs?
I feel pretty good. Unlike last year, I did make it last year, but I was in a very tough division, whereas this year I feel like there's a very clear path for me to make it, unless there are a bunch of unforeseen injuries. My team isn't super deep, but I feel pretty good. If I had to, I don't know. I feel pretty good about it. There's a very good chance that I'm in the playoffs this year.
If I could use the tone of Napoleon Dynamite and say you're like so lucky, I would say that. I just can't. I can't.
Lucky.
But lucky ass division. Lucky.
I know. Hey, I got screwed last year. It's my turn to get the easy division.
Hey, once every so often is nice. Talking about lucky, who do you see as like the surprising team to at least make it to the playoffs? Not necessarily make a deep run, but make it to the playoffs that no one might have to keep an eye on or anything.
Yeah, let me look at the rosters just real quick. I should have already had this up, but we were too busy having fun before this call, shooting the shit. Yeah, it won't take me long. Don't worry. You're not putting me under pressure like the questions from a couple of years ago where I shat myself. There's a lot of teams in here that are pretty solid. I think like 70% of the league people are like, I could see a case for this team making the playoffs. As far as like, do we want to call this a dark horse or what? I can't believe I'm doing this, but between their current roster and the amount of first round draft picks that this team has, I actually think that Garrett doesn't have a bad club. I mean, he traded away the majority of his pitching, but it's not awful. I'm trying to pick something controversial. I don't want to be like, well, Frostbite might sneak in there. It's like, fuck, they're going to make the playoffs like they always do. And he'll be busting balls trying to get into the World Series or playing in the World Series like he always is. So, I mean, I think Garrett's club is better than people give him credit for.
Okay. I think you feel like going to Vegas sometime soon then. Go gambling, man.
Yeah, maybe.
I think if he plays his cards right, he's got a shot for sure.
Yes, he absolutely does. Yeah, he just needs to acquire some pitching, which is funny because he just gutted his pitching, and he's not going to be able to get any of it back. So, yeah.
And remember the rule for this year: whatever's traded in the offseason can always be traded back during the season.
That's true. Oh, you said that pretty quickly because you took all of his pitching. He's going to come knock on your door again. You're like, yeah, you can have it.
And yeah, you can have it for double the price.
Yeah, I tax that ass is what you're going to say the second he comes knocking on your door.
Well, talking about playoffs, who do you see as the current favorite pre-draft?
That's a good question. It's funny, I can see Anthony in here fucking around with the sheet too. Anthony's always in here though, so that doesn't mean anything. Man, I wouldn't have felt this way 2 weeks ago, but I think the front runner is your club, Luis. So it's easy to hurl compliments in your direction because you're a swell guy. I don't have anything negative to say about you, which is rare.
Swell, like swell? Oh, not swell, that's swell.
No, more like swell.
Yeah.
Oh, swell.
Yeah.
Oh.
Swell, not swole. Yeah.
Anthony knows, and I didn't even have to flash him.
Please don't flash anybody. That's Alex's job.
Please.
Yeah, so dude, your pitching is ungodly and disgusting. And I don't know how you plan on affording all of these ancient guys who happen to be really good. Your starting pitching is very intimidating. And you've got a decent pen here. You have a lot of guys who are also like long inning arms and guys coming back from injury who can contribute, be very good. You have a lot of depth at a position that there's just not a lot to go around in the league. So you're hoarding talent. So first off, fuck you. And second, congratulations, because I think that your pitching is going to carry you deep into the playoffs. That's my opinion. Your offense is very good too. But I think your pitching is going to carry you pretty far.
Cool, man. All I heard was "fuck you" deep. I'm just saying.
Hey, whoa.
Yeah. You're mixing sentences together for sure. If that's what you came away with, dude.
Oh man, well we'll pass it on to Anthony for the commissioner's corner. He's got some interesting stuff to add.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to, follow that one up.
Don't go so deep.
Hey,
Yeah.
whoa!
There's
All
no
right.
rules on profanity for this, so
Yeah.
All right. So first question for you, James, is what would you say was kind of like the good and the bad about your 2023 season? I know you've already kind of touched on the division and whatnot.
Mhm.
So give me some stuff from that.
Yeah. Last year was interesting. I'm like you. I won somewhat recently. I won 2-3 years ago. So I got that. I got my white whale. I don't feel so terrible anymore. And I feel like I've been managing more clearly instead of just, chasing after that trophy. So I don't know. It was hard for me to figure out going into the year. It was just like, how clear is it going to be that I could actually make it into the playoffs and or compete for a title? And I looked at my roster and I was like, hey, as long as I have Garrett Cole available to deploy multiple times in a playoff series, I could easily win it as long as my offense is decent. So I bulked up my offense, and I think I did a really good job. But at the same time, I waffled in the middle of the season. I kind of lost focus. So, because I complained to you quite a bit, Anthony, where I was just like, my team's underperforming, and I don't think I can catch the three people in front of me. I kept getting irritated because I was waiting for Congo to fall apart, and Homeboy never fell apart. I thought that third spot was going to be mine because I thought his team would eventually fall apart. I mean, I told him that as much. I didn't want to be rude. I'm just like, you're in my spot. Don't get cozy. As we got further into the year, it never happened, and eventually Brownsville kind of free fall in the standings because they had so many injuries, right? So I was back and forth on whether or not to throw in the towel and try to sell a bunch of assets, and then I went full throttle in the other direction, and I unloaded most of my minor league talent in order to acquire guys to make it into the playoffs, and I did. And I got one game away from the World Series. So I guess I don't have any regrets, but my biggest criticism was to just pick a lane and stick in it. Don't be like, oh, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? I need to just push my chips in once and then stick with it.
I definitely get you there.
It's tough.
I know, I know, I mean, you pretty much did the kind of like almost like what's expected of the contending teams, like, hey, you pick two guys you're keeping, and they are two damn good players, you know what I mean? And everyone else can get the hell out because we're trying to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely understand what you mean there. Second question I have for you. I feel less after yesterday's interview. I feel a little bit less scared to ask this question. So.
Well, you interviewed Kaufman last night,
yes,
so
yes, and it went better than I thought it did. So
okay.
we'll leave it at that. So give me one complaint you have about the league in general. Can be about pretty much anything. And don't be afraid to say something that you may not want to say, because I mean this is really just we're all just kind of tossing stuff out.
Oh, dude, don't worry.
Judgment-free zone. It could be about another manager. It could be about league performance. It could be about, whatever it is. But Let it rip. Just keep it insightful. Don't throw a
Keep it
tantrum.
insightful. No, I'm not going to whine. I'd save that for DMs with you guys. I think I would say I wish we had a little bit more participation in the league with regards to rule changes and figuring out like, hey, what can we do differently? How can we get people more involved? What are the rules that we'd like to really revisit and make that more interactive? When I saw the Commissioner's Corner channel light up earlier this year or late last year, it was like, here's all the shit that's changing. I was like, I don't remember really talking about any of that. And it's not like this is a full blown like, hey, we have to vote on everything and everybody has to agree. It's just like, hey, even if we hop onto like a video call and it's like, hey guys, can we just have like a chat with 10 of the owners or whoever wants to show up and let's shoot the shit and talk about rule changes. That'd be cool. I kind of felt like it was like, here's the letter of the law and we're just laying it out. You guys, you read this and do with it what you will. And I'm sure if everybody made a big stink, we'd be like, sure, if there's like people who are passionate about this, we can talk about it. It'd just be cool to take the proactive, like, hey, what do people want to change? Let's sit down and talk about it, instead of just here's what we changed.
For sure, that makes sense. This is the second interview in a row, by the way, that I've actually gotten a pretty solid idea from somebody. So I guess Luis was right after all.
Holy shit! Some words I never hear out of my wife. I hear them here.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, man. Well, that was good. Just for everybody watching, James acted like we have an HR department he has to worry about. Kept it really nice and clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So keep that in mind, guys, for those coming up. Okay, so here are the two things we're gonna bring up. I mean, we gotta ask you this one question. Everybody's gonna get it because it's Bay Area set a record with 5 first-round picks, and we want to know, what do you think he's gonna do well with those 5 picks? He's just gonna bust. He might just trade them. Might trade 1 or 2. And that's, what do you think his performance is gonna end up being with those picks?
I don't know, man. It's weird because he hasn't even consistently come to the drafts. And if you have 5 first rounders, I assume you're showing up or at least going to participate. So, my prediction is he does not exercise all 5 picks. That's not exactly wild. That's something that most people are probably thinking or saying. I see him taking mostly veterans who can help him now. And there are a handful of people who have a really nasty seed and who could really help him immediately. The question is that the guy you want to take with, do you want to take 5 of these guys that can help you this year and have like a monster team that could be awful next year because all the StatCast numbers for these guys that you want to take, say last year was a fluke, it's like, cool, dude, if you want to take TJ Friedel, go nuts. First rounder, if you want to take a bunch of those guys, cool. It'll help you in the short term. But I guess to be concise, I think he'll trade some of those picks on draft day when it comes down to there's a gun to your head and you need to pick someone now. And I think he'll exercise at least 3 of them. And I think he'll take mostly veterans who are going to help him now.
Nice.
My guess.
Nice balance there. Nice little balance. Yeah. Cool. I like that. So these next ones are going to be 5 rapid fire questions. Essentially the setup or the theme is kind of to ask you what is, or what was, what is, and what will be out of these options. So that's why I'm kind of just putting it at 4 or 5. To give you an example, your first question is, what is better, Cracker Jacks at a baseball game or peanuts?
Okay.
Right?
Peanuts. Yeah.
Peanuts. Okay. Good for you. So here come the better ones.
Okay.
So what was better? Your first ever baseball game attendance, live attendance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the 2004 Game 4 ALCS Red Sox Yanks?
Oh, that's not fair. It's option number 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Landslide. One of those 2 things made me cry. Happy tears.
I'm just thinking you have to fall in love with the game at some point. So I'm trying to find out if maybe it was that first game, but apparently it was before that.
Good. Before that.
Okay. This one should be fairly easy. What is better, the City Connect unis from the Marlins or the White Sox?
I like the Marlins ones.
Yeah, that was pretty solid.
Yeah.
All right. So what will be, or what? Who will have a better future? Colorado Rockies or Detroit Tigers? And I'm talking 2, 3 years on the road, 5 years, however far you
Okay.
want to go.
Oh, as far as I want to go. Well, that makes
I
it
mean,
complicated. I'll try not to overcomplicate it.
Don't go.
Short term.
Usually like a 10-year span.
Yeah, okay. My kids aren't going to be in college. Got it. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I'd actually just say based off of the talent on the roster today, it has to be the Tigers, even though I hate the way that that team develops talent internally. They have so many good prospects because they keep getting high draft picks and they keep fucking up development. I mean, I think I'm a little bit salty about Torkelson, but it has to be the Tigers.
Work Mize, Manning,
Yeah.
fucking Riley Green.
Yeah, it's mostly injuries, so it makes you wonder. What do these guys all have in common? It's the same strength and conditioning coaches and the same training staff, medical staff. I don't know.
Hey, fair answer. This one is more again also on the future. Who at the end of the day will have, when you look back at the numbers, not just achievements, like whether they won a World Series or not, but personal numbers. Who will have it better, Mike Trout or Mookie Betts?
You said just based off the numbers, not trophies.
Yeah, because I mean, we know where Mike Trout is at, so I can't really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Because that would be like a 1 second. That'd really be a rapid fire answer. God, dude, I'm gonna say Mookie just because he's got so much more in the tank, and he just doesn't get injured. And who knows how many years Trout has left to perform at an elite level? Probably Anthony hopes a lot, but I'm gonna assume it's Mookie. And that wasn't an easy decision. I think it could have been a coin flip based off of health and the amount of years they have left. I think it's Mookie.
Yeah. Gotcha.
If my players keep getting fucking paid like they are, I might not have a fucking option.
Be a man, dude. Just start floating them.
yeah, I'll get right on that.
Cool, man. That wraps it up for that. Unless Anthony, you got any last thoughts? By the way, if you want to look really quick, I don't know where Mike Trout's WAR sits in comparison with Betts.
Let me see your best.
I'm not doing research in the middle of a rapid fire question. Wouldn't be kosher.
No. Just go off B WAR because it's easiest to see immediately. Trout, you're looking at. Oh, never mind. Am I a liar? Am I a dirty liar? 85.2 B WAR, which is kind of a lot. And
it's kind of a lot.
Yeah, and Mookie, you're looking at. Mookie, you're looking at 64.5. So Trout's got him by like 20 WAR.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
What's the difference in age, though? That makes you wonder.
Damn it, you're making me do more searching.
I know. Well, I just want to know the answer to this question now that we can use the numbers.
Mookie is 31 and 135 days. And Trout is 32 and 196 days. So Trout's basically 1 year older than Mookie.
I thought Trout was way older. I think it's just based off the injuries and how long he's been in the league.
Just for kind
Crazy.
of just for kind of like some context, Trout is the active leader in career WAR with 85.2 wins above replacement, and the next closest person who is a hitter is Betts at 64.
Okay.
And also the next closest person who is under the age of 35 is also Mookie Betts.
Wow.
Yeah, so everyone else between Trout and Betts are the four guys who you would expect: Verlander, Kershaw, Greinke, and Max Scherzer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, I think, like you said, though, the health is what kind of drives the answer a little bit,
Yeah, I said age, but damn, I thought it was like 3 or 4 years of difference. I made assumptions because Trout's been in the league since he was a little ass kid.
Yeah,
Betts, I think, broke in when he was 24, probably something like that.
And you figured Trout too. I mean, his most productive years, he had like 3 or 4 years at 10 WAR. You know what I mean? And that'll add some distance to anybody.
Yeah.
People don't really do that anymore.
No,
Yeah.
they don't. They don't let them.
Trout's body is probably like 34, 35 at this point with the injury, so that might be
Yeah.
why. So Betts could probably make some ground there.
True.
But
Hey, at least we know for sure his actual age because he was born here. There's none of this
Damn.
birth certificate questions.
No pool shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Shit. Cool. I think we're good, guys. We'll stay tuned for the next episode. And again, James, thanks for giving us a little bit of time today.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me.
Take it easy, guys.